People ask me all the time, so where's the best place you've ever been? And I go, well, I don't know what best means. How about if I tell you the most beautiful place I've ever been? And they go, okay, that'll do. What's the most beautiful place you've ever been? And I tell them in a heartbeat, the Society Islands. And in particular, if you can do it on a Paul Gauguin ship, you're going to see a lot more of them than if you just go park yourself on the beach somewhere.
Welcome, luxury enthusiasts, to the Luxury Travelers Podcast, hosted by Rodney George. The ultimate passport to opulent destinations, extravagant experiences, and unparalleled indulgence. Whether one is a seasoned jet setter or daydreaming of the next lavish getaway, the Luxury Travelers Podcast has it all covered. So buckle up and prepare for a journey into the lap of luxury. Now, your host.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time of day it is when you're finally getting around to watching this episode of the Luxury Travelers Podcast. You're going to be glad you dropped in today, and you'll realize why about 2 or 3 minutes from now. My special guest today is Susan Robison. She's the Vice President of Marketing and Communication for the Americas for Ponant and for Paul Gauguin Cruises, which is what we're here to talk about today. Susan leads a marketing and PR team at Ponant and Paul Gauguin, and she has incredible experience in brand stewardship and storytelling across a variety of channels for these two award-winning brands. Her background, she's been a little bit of everywhere, but she's been at Crystal Cruises, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and even did a stint in marketing for the global consumer brand called Burger King, for those of you who like to eat good hamburgers. When not at home in South Florida with her husband Jorge, you'll often find her where she's going to be tomorrow afternoon on the Paul Gauguin in Tahiti and Bora Bora, and absolutely the most beautiful destination on earth. So, Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rodney. So happy to be here. And yes, I'm traveling tomorrow, heading to LA and then Papeete and joining the ship on Saturday for our 7-night Society Islands itinerary. So looking very much forward to it. And I've been there twice before. So I have been to paradise, and it is real. And the mana is real. What they call the mana, which is the spirit of the islands, is so amazing there.
It is. I've been there myself. It's been 7 or 8 years since I've been there, going back next year. But people ask me all the time, so where's the best place you've ever been? And I go, well, I don't know what best means. How about if I tell you the most beautiful place I've ever been? And they go, okay, that'll do. What's the most beautiful place you've ever been? And I tell them in a heartbeat, the Society Islands. And in particular, if you can do it on a Paul Gauguin ship, you're going to see a lot more of them than if you just go park yourself on the beach somewhere. Now, having said that, do not ever go do the Paul Gauguin unless you're going to set aside 3 to 5 days on one end of the cruise or the other to spend some time in an over-the-water bungalow. It is an experience that you will cherish for the remainder of your days, I promise you.
Yes, I think that's a good point. We have different length of itineraries. So we have the 7-day, we have an 11-day, we have a 14-day. But I do think that when people think of Bora Bora and Tahiti, they think of the overwater bungalow. So it's sort of that iconic moment that you want to capture in your life. But Paul Gauguin is also an overwater bungalow that sails. So that's the way we like to call it. So you get to visit, 5 different islands on a 7-night itinerary. So that's pretty special. You
just won't have the glass floor in your living room.
Yeah. Yeah. But we do have the marina that folds down in the back of the ship.
Yes,
so,
you do. Yes, you do.
You can get off the ship there and canoe and kayak and take the Zodiacs out for diving. It's pretty active and an incredible experience.
Now, some of the things that we're going to be showing while you and I are talking are as a result of your people having recently been on board and did some incredible work with a drone, did some walk-arounds inside the ship, because this ship just finished a fairly expensive refurbishment, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we just we're in our another dry dock. That ship goes into dry dock or refurbishment every couple of years, and so our most recent one finished up in April in Singapore, and we are back in Tahiti now. May 15th was our first voyage after the multimillion-dollar refurbishment, and she's refreshed. She's looking good. I think it's important to note that when Penat bought the company in 2019, they did a very much more extensive refurbishment than the one that we just did in 2021, where they did all the public spaces, including the staterooms. They added a digital library that celebrates Paul Gauguin in one of the hallways. They redid Le Toit, which is our main restaurant, and La Veranda, which is our upscale French restaurant. And so what we did this last time was sort of finish that initial start with, we refurbished Le Grill, which is our third restaurant on board, which is the one that's by the pool. So it's indoor-outdoor dining. And then we did an extensive refurbishment around the pool. We did the pool decking around the actual pool, and then we added cabana shading over one side of the deck. So there wasn't a lot of shade before on the pool deck, but now there is. So that was a wonderful addition. And we redid the bar in that area as well. We did some soft furnishings around the ship that needed a little bit of a refresh. And then one of the big things we did was add connecting staterooms. So yes, as you know, Rodney, multi-generational travel is very important. It's a trend. It continues to be a trend. And so this is a great opportunity for families or friends traveling together to have a connecting stateroom, which we didn't have before.
We do so much multi-generational travel that the newspaper here in Naples, Florida did a feature article on our agency, 4 or 5 years back. And they came out and they spent a whole day talking to us and taking pictures and doing all kinds of things. And you don't have, when they want to do an article, a newspaper wants to do an article, you have no say as to what they say. Yep. But they said absolutely wonderful things. And they named the article, it was on the front page of the business section, they named the article, "Take the Kids and Pick Up the Tab."
Nice.
And we have built a business around take the kids and pick up the tab. Yeah. And I know myself from having 3 children and 4 grandchildren, actually 6 grandchildren altogether. When you take them on those vacations like that, it creates memories that will last way beyond your time on this planet. And that's important to me, is to create memories for my children and grandchildren to remember long after I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And I think with these connecting staterooms, that was like the one piece that was missing. And because we have an incredible kids program for the grandparents who are bringing, the grandkids who are 6 to 15, it's pretty unique in the industry. No one really does anything like this. It's not your typical coloring, and someone kind of babysitting the kids. It's a program we run with Te Mana o Te Moana, which is a sea turtle preservation group based in Papeete. And they have 2 naturals that travel on board the ship and create the whole program. And It's pretty special. They do, with the naturals, the kids get to snorkel with them. They do beach Olympics. They get to do navigation by the stars at night with the captain. They get to learn about tattoos and how important tattoos are in the culture of French Polynesia. They get to design their own tattoo. They learn about water pollution and how important it is to protect the environment. They learn all about sea turtles. It's a pretty incredible program, all complimentary for the kids. And a lot of times we have the parents say, "Can we come too?" And if there's room, we allow them. But it's a pretty special program. And in fact, Travel and Leisure in the February edition of this year did a 9-page article on the program. And we had a writer who was on board with her 2 daughters, and it was pretty spectacular, the article. So if anybody has a chance to read it, it really brings to forth sort of the magic of the program. And a lot of people think of Tahiti as honeymoon, right? And romance, but there's also this whole element of teaching kids about a whole different culture and being in a place so different, really, than anywhere else in the world.
Well, I tell my snorkelers and my diving clients, you have not lived until you put your face in the water in Bora Bora in particular. It's like It's like you're swimming in the Shed Aquarium in Chicago. Only better because the water's clearer and it's unbelievable what you see that first time you put your face in the water in these beautiful, clear, pristine waters that I don't know how far down you can see, but I can remember being there, and we were in one of the outrigger canoes that was powered, and we were going 25 or 30 miles an hour, and you could see fish underneath us going the opposite direction just because the water's that clear and the white sandy bottom.
In the Tuamotus, they have an island called Ranagora. Sorry, that's probably not exactly how it's pronounced, but it's like a world-class almost aquarium. The lagoon is so large there. It's the largest atoll. It's one of the best places to snorkel and dive. And, with Paul Gauguin Cruises, we have PADI certified divers that live on the ship year round. There are 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, tough job. And they've created our whole program. So we don't really outsource the diving to outside vendors. We do it ourselves, and
wow.
People. The diving program is very popular with us, and it's interesting. I was on a couple of years ago, and there was a couple, and she had just retired from AAA, and he was still working, but they were going on Paul Gauguin. He's a huge diver, but she's not. So she loves the vacation because he got to dive every day, and she got to stay on the ship or be on the beach. She got to do a spa treatment. So it was like the perfect mix for them because he got to do, because I'm a diver and my husband isn't. So if we ever dive, he has to sit on the boat, right? And there's not a lot to do. So this is like the perfect vacation for a couple who one might dive or one who doesn't. So it's a pretty great program, and we offer to get your certification too. So it's not just
that was
those.
My next question.
Yeah,
is can if you've done the written test and all that, can you do your freshwater, your pool dives and your open water dives on board? And you just answered that. Yeah,
they do allow that, and I think that's a really unique proposition that Paul Gauguin Cruises offers that others don't.
So Paul Gauguin Cruises has often been referred to as the destination expert of French Polynesia. What is it that sets you apart based on your approach to this whole region than the rest of the cruise lines?
Well, I think it's important, one, to know that we've been there over 26 years. In 2023, we celebrated 25 years in the destination, and we're continuing to only sail there. So the only time we really leave French Polynesia is when we go to Singapore for a refurbishment like we just did. And then we'll stop in Australia and Fiji on the way back. And we have a lot of repeat guests who like those cruises too, because they love the atmosphere on board. And it's kind of nice to go to, a little bit different ports along the way. But really, we've been there for 26 years. We've never left. The ship was built for the destination. Right. So it has it's able to sail into islands like Whakarava and Atatiki because it's a small draft, and we're able to get into places where other people can't get into. And because the ship was built for the destination, a lot of our crew members have been on board for a while, for a long time. In fact, we have 6 who've been with the ship for 26 years. And then we have a lot of, crew members who are there 10, 12, 15 years. It's really our home. And because of that, we're part of the family there. And so a lot of the locals rely on us. Obviously, we're bringing economic impact to the area. We have 7 to 10 Gauguin, as we call them, who live aboard. So they're local Tahitians who are on board 24/7, and they're in essence sharing their home, their hospitality, that French, Polynesian hospitality on board. They do all the entertainment programs. They spend a lot of time doing arts and crafts on board. Every sunset, sail away, they're on board performing on the pool deck and singing and dancing. And you really feel immersed in the culture because it's not fabricated. It's real. It's the Tahitians bringing it to our guests. And because of that, I think that's why people choose Paul Gauguin Cruises, because because of the crew and the fact that we have these Gauguin on board that are there year round. No one else does that, right? So it's really part of the immersiveness, and then, working with the locals and, looking at the shore excursions and ensuring that we're, providing the shore excursions and all the stuff that happens, onshore too, so that it's very authentic and immersive.
Well, I know Paul Gauguin is all about immersive, but how does that really relate for people who are looking for authenticity and connection? I think you've touched on that a little bit, but I know that's a big part of almost your mission statement on this cruise line.
Yeah, I think because we're there year round, the ship was built for there, that we have the Gauguin on board because we have crew members that have been there so long, and we understand the destination. We understand the islands. We know the vibe of the islands. We've created our itineraries to go with the natural flow of the islands, and I was talking about this mana earlier about the feeling in French Polynesia is something they call mana, and it's like energy. And because the ship is designed and built for there, the mana is already there. So it's not like we're bringing a ship in that we've deployed around the world and now we happen to be in French Polynesia. And so I think the hardware in itself speaks to it. The design of the ship is beautiful, a lot of beautiful greens and golds, and you'll see from the pictures, gorgeously designed and really apropos for that area. And then along with the crew and the soft tangibles of the hospitality and the service you get on board. And then we're very connected to the community. And one of the things I'm really most proud about is our relationship with the French Polynesian government and our healthcare program. And so since 2023, we've been assisting our doctors and nurses on board, have been assisting doctors in the Marquesas on cases there. Like citizens who have come in and might need emergency help or emergency care. They're also able to come on board and take advantage of our hospital on board. So for X-rays and other maybe equipment that isn't available locally for them. And so since 2003, we've helped 110 citizens in the Marquesas who didn't have to be evacuated to go to Papeete. And so that's sort of, this is our home, and we want to take care of the folks who are there. And I think that when guests who come from across the world go on the ship, they feel that, right? Because we're so connected to the community.
Well, the Cook and the Marquesa Islands are adjacent, and you do some things there. But I understand that the Marquesas in particular are really a totally different vibe and different feel because of the lack of modernization there. So if you really want to kind of get back to how things really used to be, I believe the Marquesas is an excellent add-on to doing the Society Islands. How do you feel about that?
It is. And, a lot of people think of Bora Bora and Moorea, but the Marquesas is so unique. It's like supercharged cultural. There aren't a lot of beaches there. They're gorgeous mountains. It's a lot of culture there. You learn about the people, their artists, the culture around the tikis, all the amazing things of the culture of French Polynesia really you find in the Marquesas. And I think that's because there aren't any beaches there. So we're hiking in the mountains. We're learning about the tikis and how important they are for the culture. We're learning about the people and their religious Christianity. There's a lot of Catholicism there, and you learn about that with their churches. And you visit a farmer and learn about what they're doing, and it's really a very different part of French Polynesia. And I think it's the furthest archipelago away from any place. It's like the most remote. And
most isolated, yeah.
Yeah. So it's an interesting interesting change from if you're in Bora Bora and you're on the beaches and you're in snorkeling. That's not what you do there. You do the culture part there. And also Paul Gauguin was buried there. So you can go to Ivo and see his grave.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, he's buried there. And what's nice about our 14-day is you spend You leave Papeete, we go to Whakarava, which is a UNESCO biosphere. So talk about diving. It's amazing there. And then you head on down to the Marquesas. You're there for 4 nights. And then you head back and you're in Bora Bora. So you get a mix of both, right? You get the iconic kind of French Polynesia feel, and then you get this supercharged cultural element with the Marquesas.
We're doing 2 groups next year, one in July and one in September. They're both doing the same itinerary. They're doing the Society and the Tuamotus.
Right.
And I don't know anything about the Tuamotus because I've never been there.
Yeah. Well, Whakarava's in the Tuamotus. So that's a place, it's a small island, and it is like I mentioned earlier, it's a UNESCO biosphere. So I've been snorkeling there. It's beautiful there. There's a lot underwater, amazing things there. And then there's Rangiroa, which is the other island that we'll be going to on that trip for the Tuamotus. And that's where I was talking about one of the world's largest atolls, and that there's no mountains there. So it's not like the Marquesas where you see a lot of mountains, or in Moorea and Bora Bora, it's flat. And it's really about that aquarium, that huge lagoon there. So it'll be fantastic. I haven't been there yet, so I'm looking forward to it at some point. But it's supposed to be amazing for snorkeling. And you mentioned snorkeling earlier, so I think your group will be thrilled to do that there.
Yeah, we snorkeled and we dove. We went outside the reef and dove with black-tip sharks, which was an experience. Get your heart pounding a little bit.
Yep.
For guests who have never sailed with Paul Gauguin, and we have a number of them already booked on these 2 departures I was telling you about, what can they really expect from the onboard experience as far as cuisine and service and entertainment? And you've talked a lot about the enrichment, but what can they expect on board the ship, in regards to cuisine and entertainment in particular?
Yeah, I mean, we call it barefoot luxury because it is a luxury product. And I think it's really because of the crew. And they do a cruise show, by the way, like the next to last night, where your butler might be singing or your concierge is playing an instrument, or they're doing magic. It's the best show at sea. And I've been, as you know, you mentioned my background earlier, so I've been to with some other cruise lines, but it's the best thing. It's an amazing. They're so proud of their talent, and they want to show it and share it with the guests on board. And there were some tears. There's always some tears in the audience because people are so excited to see the people that they've been talking with all week. But we have 3 restaurants, which is very important which is very good for a ship our size. So we're 330 guests max.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And we have L'Etoile, which is our main restaurant, international cuisine. The menu changes every night. You don't need a reservation. Beautifully appointed. I think Penang has done a fabulous job with the design elements on this ship and kept the true spirit of the ship. And L'Etoile is stunning with a lot of dark woods and beautiful greens and yellows. Gorgeous place. La Veranda is our upscale French restaurant, and that's a reservations only at dinner, and then during the day there's breakfast and lunch there. It's a gorgeous room. The food is spectacular. The best foie gras I've ever had is in La Veranda. Now I know I'm biased, but they cook it like a whole piece with ginger and apple. So I always like a little something sweet with my foie gras, and it's fantastic. So I think your guests will love, or your clients will love, La Veranda. It's a very nice upscale restaurant, French restaurant. And then Le Grill, which was recently refurbished this last dry dock. And it's a reservation only at night. And it serves like Polynesian food, fresh specialties, a lot of fresh fish on board. Like the executive chef will go out and catch a big moonfish and cut it right there in front of everyone and do a big demonstration. And then we'll all eat it that night. So it's really spectacular, the amount of fresh fish we have on board. And we really take advantage of the the destination too, with all the fresh food and fruit and everything that comes on. And so those are the three restaurants. We have 24-hour room service, which is fantastic. And we have a couple of beautiful bars. We have a piano bar that they'll have a piano person in there playing. It's very lively. It's a lot of fun. And then La Palette, which is on aft of the ship. So in the back, it has a beautiful balcony. And in there, they usually have entertainment. The band will be in there. They have some karaoke going on a night or so. Beautiful bar. Like in the morning, if you want to watch the sunrise on the back deck, you go there. They have the fresh juice of the day. A lot of people have like a little continental breakfast back there. Very quiet. Everyone just sort of sits, and you don't really go back there to socialize. You really just go to watch the sunrise. So it's a really nice kind of place on the ship to go early morning, and then late at night. It's always fun in there with all the dancing and music, and so that's a lot of fun. And then we have Le Grand Salon, which is the main theater on board, and we do a lot of local entertainment. So when we overnight in a port, we'll bring on entertainment from ashore. And that's fantastic. So the kids get, like the parents and the grandparents and the kids are all together in a musical or dancing show, and they'll get to come on board and perform. And that's really magical for the guests. So we don't do like Broadway shows or anything like that. All of our entertainment's really centered around the destination and bringing local entertainment on. Having the crew do a crew show, which, trust me, it's fantastic. And then also,
it always is. It always is.
And then, and the Gauguin are very involved with the entertainment on board. So it's really, that's where the immersiveness comes from, right? So it's all done there. It's from there. It's authentic. It's real, and our guests love it. And then we have the pool deck, and now with the new cabana shading, which we're getting really great reviews. People love it because now we have some shading on the pool deck.
For those people that got too much sun the day before, right?
Yes. Yep. Or if you're late afternoon and you've had enough over there, you move over to the other side of the pool deck for a little shade. Yeah. And it's the onboard is easy. It's an easy feeling. You're in a destination where everyone's pretty relaxed, there's no formal nights. Everyone's just very relaxed. Of course, by the second day, everyone knows everybody, the crew know your name for sure, but you can be as social as you want or not. Right. So it's got a very nice laid back vibe, but very, really good service and attention to detail, which is so important. And then we have our French officers on board. And I have to say the captains for Penant, the French captains, are amazing. Captain Keoch. I'm not sure who will be on your sailing or your two sailings, but we'll have Captain Michel Keoch, a younger guy who actually had his first job on Paul Gauguin. But now he's the main captain. And, he's out and about. Hosts people for dinner. He goes ashore and runs. He comes to the Shorex meetup. He works the pool deck and says hello to people. Very, very outgoing and talks to people. It's really great. The French officers are fantastic.
Having been a long dry spell since I've been to that part of the world, I literally can't wait. And we have a couple of good groups that are going with us. The September one is getting full, and we're working harder on July right now. But those two dates are what we have, and I can't wait for these friends of ours here in Naples to experience this memory that I have. Oh, and I was going to ask you one more thing. I cannot find out if Bloody Mary's in Bora Bora is going to reopen or not.
No, I looked because I'm going. So I was like, I want to go to Bloody Mary's. And when I looked last week, it said not. It hasn't given a new opening date yet.
When I was there last time, I met the owner. He was from San Francisco, and I was putting how they put the dollar bills up on the wall. I put my name on it, and I was putting it up on the wall. And he said, "First time here?" And I said, "Yes, actually." He goes, "Let me buy you a drink." So my wife and I went over and sat down at the bar and sat there and talked to him for a half hour. He said, "You guys should have been here a day earlier." And I go, "I know, that's the story of my life." "Okay, what are you going to tell me? Jimmy Buffett was here?" And he goes, "Actually, he was."
Oh, no.
Jimmy Buffett had been there the night before.
That's amazing.
We had heard that Jimmy Buffett from time to time would show up there. God bless his soul.
Yeah.
But that would have been a real added plus to walk in and Jimmy Buffett's doing the entertainment.
That would have been amazing. I've been there twice now, and I was so hoping it would be open for our trip this time, but no. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing. It's been closed for a while.
Let me know, because I got these two groups of people that fingers are crossed.
Okay. When is is it September this year or September next year?
Next year.
Oh, yeah. I think you should be good.
July 18 to 29 and September 12 to 23 of 2026.
Yeah. I think hopefully
and I'm
you'll
going to look
good.
that Travel and Leisure article up too.
That'd be great.
Susan, I can't tell you how much fun it's been. I can't believe our time is gone. But it was great having you on, and great learning more about your knowledge and of that particular little piece of the world. I call it paradise. It is the most beautiful place I've ever been, still to this day. And I'm so envious that my bag's not packed and I'm not joining you and whoever you're taking with you there on the ship for the next few days. But have a great time. And I expect a full report as soon as you get back.
I'm happy to. And I wish you were going with me too. It's going to be fun. So thanks for having me, Rodney.
I'm glad you could come on. And I always close the show with my good friend, Dr. Philip Randall from Atlanta, Georgia. He specializes in gerontological studies, and he shared this with me 40 years ago, and it's still stuck in my brain. And that is simply this: enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining us on the Luxury Travelers Podcast. For more information, head on over to luxurytravelerspodcast.com to connect with our team or leave us a message. Until next time, safe travels and savor the extraordinary.